Wakarongo ki te tangi e, watu watu mai I rā, watu watu mai te muka, watua te ni o tuata I kia mai a, watua te a o tuata I ki au. My name's Narlene and I worked at the Human Rights Commission from 93 to 2008 and some called me a dinosaur. My involvement with the logo was to work with a small group of, a small team to come up with a concept which adequately reflected the Commission, and the idea was a Korowai or a cloak and the protective element of the Korowai. The logo really means the weaving together of domestic legislation with its community, so that the legislation is part of a Korowai which is wrapped around its people. It means something and it provides something to the public. That's what the logo means. You've got the Human Rights Act here and you've got the people here. With the Korowai, they're supposed to be one, otherwise you'd have a useless piece of legislation. You'd have people outside, everyone would be outside the Act, therefore the Act would be useless. So it would be full of holes. So, and you probably wouldn't even have the knot at the bottom in that case, because everyone would slip through it. The Korowai is actually about the Human Rights Act. It's actually about the protection that the Human Rights Act provides. So the aho, which are the horizontal strands, there's the aho matua, the continuous strand which goes the length of the Korowai, represents the Human Rights Act. And the wenu, which are the strands that go down, the vertical strands, represent the public, so that the public are woven into the fabric of the Act, and that's where the protection element comes in. And the tying of the knot at the bottom cements the Human Rights Act with the people, so that hopefully people aren't falling out the bottom of the weaving, if you know what I mean. There is nobody lost within that weaving. That's what the tie is for at the bottom. The elements of strength for the Human Rights Act, its strength is in the many areas and grounds that it provides protection. If you look back to 77, the Human Rights Act only covered race discrimination in the early days, but as it's strengthened, you know, it's been strengthened over about 3-4 times over the years. The reality is too that some of those muka, some of those elements are weaker than others, but if it's woven properly, and if you know a properly woven Korowai is a strong Korowai in all areas, and so there aren't really any weak points. Hei pupuri e ere I ngā piki ngā heke. Just to believe in the legislation, to believe in the kaupapa of the Commission, and also, as I said earlier, to strengthen the legislation so that it has a positive effect. Korowai e tia ki te mana tangata. Korowai e tia ki te mana tangata.